Hi guys, welcome to a new beginner's Roblox scripting tutorial. Today I will be discussing about properties. I believe I said last video we will be going over scopes, but I think that we will put a pause on it for now, as I think that learning about properties makes more sense before learning about scopes. Properties basically allow us programmers to specify whether or not we want to change aspects about object, or we can either change its appearance about it. So I am going to create a part. I will put it into workspace, and now you can see that this properties window shows up when I select this part. Also, if you do not have this properties window, you can go to view and you can select this properties tab over here. So you're able to change a lot about a part or an object you're selecting. So we'll go one by one and discussing what different properties a certain object has. So we will be looking at this part that we placed under workspace, and we can change a lot of things about it. We can change its color by brick color and say whether or not we can cast a shadow on it. As you can see, if I select or deselect, the shadow changes. We can also, instead of having pre-selected colors, we can be more intricate with our color selection. We can also change a material about a part. I think that with also reflectance, so reflectance works only on certain materials. Plastic's one of them. You can also change how reflective a part is. If I were to make this reflective and select a different part, the reflectance doesn't affect it. Next one is transparency. We can also change how opaque or how translucent a part is. We also have data about its positional value and its rotational value. So if I were to move this part around along the x-axis, you can see that when I open up position, the x value changes, right? As well as the z value and y value. It's also in conjunction with orientation. If I were to rotate a certain part along the z-axis, you can see the z value changes, etc. Now, both position and orientation falls under C-frame, as you can see over here. C-frames are really important. We'll be talking about that on another video because they deserve their own highlights. You can also change the collisions of the part. You can specify whether it collides with a player, or you can also specify if the part collides with other parts or not. You can also anchor the part. If I were to run the game, as you can see, it falls down because the part's not anchored. If I were to move it up, it just keeps falling down. If I were to anchor it, the part just stays in place. Now that we have a base understanding of what properties are, we can go ahead and modify properties. Instead of this window, you can use scripts to do so. So what I will do is I will delete this part, and I will make a script workspace. So what do we do from here? Well, first we need to find a reference to the part that we want to manipulate. So before I do that, I will go ahead and make a part in workspace. I put it up, and I will also anchor the part just to keep it in the air. So as I go back to the script, we can see that there's this part in our workspace, but now we need to find our path or our reference to the part. So to do so, we will go ahead and look at the explore page or the explore window. And if you do not see it, you will go ahead, click on view and click on the explore tab. So we need to gain a reference to this part, and to do so, we need to understand the hierarchy that this explore page has. So basically, all of these are services, and each of these objects, they will have a parent and they will have a children. So we can easily find a children based on if it has a dropdown. As you can see, workspace has a dropdown in which you can see all these indentations. All of these are children's of this workspace, and that's basically all this explore page is that you are following and you are traversing the parent all the way down to the child that you want. So the child that we want to access is this part that is parented under workspace. Now to do so, we will go ahead and create a variable. And for this variable, we want to find the path to take towards part. Now, before we type in workspace or all these other services, we need to specify game. This is because game is the top of the hierarchy and this is where you start. So you type in game.workspace because we want to traverse into the workspace as our part is inside of it. So we go game.workspace.part. And there you go, we have access to the part and we can also access the properties from here on out. Now, suppose this part is in somewhere else. You would do the same thing except instead of the workspace, the part is not inside of it. I guess players.part. However, you don't want to put a part in here. So I will revert it back. Put the part back in workspace, and now let's carry on. So basically, each of these dots represent that you want to access the children's. So you specify with game, and then dot, meaning you want to look into this workspace folder, and then you want another dot to specify part. So we'll go ahead and access these properties and modify them through the script. So I guess what we can modify first is that we can modify the brick color of this part. So originally this part is medium stone gray. If we want to change its brick color, we look at the left side of this table. We want to specify, we want to change its brick color. And the brick color is a new case scenario where we want to, instead of having like a string, like I guess like red like that, we need to specify that we want to change its brick color with brick color dot new. And inside quotation marks, you specify the name of the brick color. As you can see over here, the brick color changes. And let's say I want to change it to cyan. So we will go ahead and put cyan over here. And if we run the program, we can see that the brick is now cyan. Now to further show this, we'll go ahead and add in a task.wait. This will basically yield the script or pause the script for 0.5 seconds or half a second. And as you can see, it pauses and then it changes colors to cyan. Next, we will go ahead and change the material. So I will go ahead and put another wait. Say my part dot material. Now, as you can see, this is another different case where material has a dropdown. And now to change this property, you need to specify enum. Basically, enum is a list that Roblox provides that contains all of these. So if I do enum dot the type of list, which is material dot, and now we have access to the different names. So I want to change this to smooth plastic. And there we go. Oops. So if we run the program, I don't think that the change shows because the materials kind of look similar. So we will go ahead and change this to ice. And as you can see, the texture changed. And then we can change it back to smooth plastic. So now we can also change the reflectance and transparency. Wait, my part dot reflectance. And then we can change. We assign a integer value. As you can see over here, we can half its reflectance, and to also add on to that, my part dot transparency. We can also make it semi-transparent. So if we run the program, change color, texture back, we made it reflective, and then it is transparent. So we had that done. Let's go ahead and look at C-frames. So like I said before, C-frames, they store the position and orientation of the part you are selecting. Now, what if I want to change the C-frame of this value? Well, what I could do is I will go ahead and create a part into workspace, a new one. And let's say I want to move it over here. I will also anchor it. And I will change its color just so it looks different. And now we need to find a reference to this newly created part. So we need to have unique names for both of the parts if we want to access the right one. And then we create another variable part2 as a reference for that part. And to change this C-frame or to change this location of this part, we will set C-frame to the C-frame of the new part. Add another weight, and if we run the program, it will do all of its appearance changes, and then it should teleport to its new position. It also takes in the orientational value that it gets teleported to. So if we change its orientation, as you can see, the orientation changes along with it for part 1. After we did that, we can go ahead and look at the collisions and anchoredness of the parts. So as you can see, these properties have check marks in it. To change its value, we need to set it to a bool value, which is true or false. So we will go ahead and we can change the collision for both parts. We'll go ahead and do that. My part dot can't collide is false. This is because we are going to change the anchored property of part 1, and we are going to try to make it fall through the workspace. So we will set both parts to false for can't collide, and then pass wait half a second, and then we can do my part anchored equals false. So if we look at it, after it teleports to it, it should fall to the floor, and it does. So basically that's it, and for the properties, they use various numbers of data types from enums to integers and bool values. So basically that wraps it up about properties. I hope you guys learned something. Thank you.